My name is Jordan, and I will be your Dungeon Master tonight. Thank you for joining us at D&D Legacy.
My name's Quincy. I'll be playing Adric Gadriel, a sorcerer searching for his origin.
Hi, my name is Jeff, and I'll be playing Caitlin Sunward, a noble elven paladin.
Hey, I'm Eric. I'm playing Glim Dargle, a gnomish inventor and artificer who's seeking to make a name for himself in the world.
And on our last outing, Glim had just left Panicky, his hometown, a small gnomish town east of Neverwinter. He had gone out to kind of make a name for himself, get some real-life, real-world experience. On his journeys, he met Xanth, a centaur who was warding people away from some will-o-wisps until some adventurers or do-gooders could come along and make their way down into the area below some stones and rid the area of the negative influence of these will-o-wisps, as he was too big to do it himself. He met Qualish and made his way with Qualish into a great setting of tombs, tunnels, and things below the earth. This being a potential resting tomb of one Acererak, a previous comrade of Qualish who had a falling out. And Caitlin. Oh, and also Glim. He got some crystal shards from some airships that were, or from an airship that was down in this tomb, kind of set up as a relic or a trophy room to some other planar experience or memory that Acererak had. Caitlin Sunward, in the Ardeep forest at her estate, saw that her mother was presented with a letter requesting her presence in Waterdeep to fill the council seat of her now deceased husband. After realizing her mother's sorrow and lack of interest in joining in on this council seat in Waterdeep, Caitlin took up the familial responsibility and right and made her way into Waterdeep. Along her path, she got she met an elk, a red elk in the forest, who she had had a previous experience with, and was able to, with the elk, make her way into Waterdeep. After meeting up with the originator of this letter, the invitation from a Lord Ulbrinter, she made her way to the council rooms and to private quarters of her family and her father, now deceased, and took on 3 magical items, including a helm, a robe, and a amulet. And comprised together, those magical items transform into the Lord's Ensemble. She realized her father was a previous masked lord over Waterdeep, and this gave her some concern, as this seemed to be at odds with her personal or familial, and even her father's personal principles. Adric had a vision, a dream, of a as to unknown angel falling from grace in a place of fire and brimstone. In these dire moments, she dropped or gave her sword away, and through the plains, this great weeping and wailing could be felt by Adric in his visionary state, and descending through a beam, Adric was able to inherit some odd scepter that has some sort of correlation or relation to this angelic being from another plane. As to unknown, its origin or its insignificance, this scepter seems to be quite powerful and have an affinity towards him. As he rose, there was an odd noise, and he realized there had been a mimic in the refuse that he'd been resting in, and the mimic wrapped itself to him like a cloak or a robe, and has now struck up a semi-friendship, as the mimic would call it. And Adric went on to the Arcane Brotherhood to identify some insignias and learn more about his forgotten past, as it still shrouds itself in mystery. He's able to glean some information that ancient tomes of a Makath the Crimson had been taken, and that she had fled north to investigate further some goings on with ancient dragons up north. It was pointed out by the Black Staff of the Arcane Brotherhood that it would be in the Arcane Brotherhood's best interest, as well as Makath's, to retrieve those tomes, and that they sought mutual interest in protecting Makath and helping Adric if he so needed it. And I want to say that pretty much ties it up. So tonight, let's see. We will start with Adric, and we'll kind of go backwards. We'll go Adric, Caitlin, and then Glim. Adric, you are there at the Arcane Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
You've just finished talking to Vince, the Black Staff, an elderly man with brown skin, kind of a salt and pepper beard and hair, who apprehensively is trying to gauge your involvement, what good you could do for the Brotherhood, and talking about Makath, who has some of their ancient lore and tomes. Any questions come to mind? Anything you would do at this time?
So I gave him the symbol last time, right? And they were going to have like a translation made.
Yes, that was from the word Atalantia. Was that what you're referring to?
Mm-hmm.
So, and if I'm not mistaken, we talked about that a little bit. That it literally meant fallen tears. Now, Vince, he says this is celestial writing. We don't really deal in the celestials. Where our primary interest being in the arcane studies, but being that this is a straight up translation, I don't have much to be able to infer beyond that as far as what potentially these runes mean to your religion or to the realm, or even to to any other planar entity or deity that put these there.
Who would be better equipped to translate these runes? Or translate this language? Or who would know more about it?
He looks around a little bit. The day was running out. It was close to closing time. There wasn't many people around, but he pulls you closer a little bit and he whispers to your ear, I don't know of anybody that's currently living that deals in this sort of divination magic. I think there might be a resource for you, though, if you are to uncover where Diderus resides, where his final resting place was. Diderus was a highly powerful divination wizard. And he's passed maybe 50, 100 years ago that I can recall. I haven't seen anyone come through our doors that so uniquely was adept at that divination magic like Diderus was.
Any leads on where his final resting place is? I mean, is it here in the city?
No, he became a little paranoid in his later years. I used to keep in contact with him. He would send in notes. They became more and more outlandish, more and more grand in their assumptions or assertions that things were going to happen. And he dealt in the potentialities, as you would say. There's 1,001 potentials for anything to happen, but the probability of those things happening, he just kind of lost himself in some of that, and he would live in a reality that was alternate to what we knew. In his kind of recluse state, being more paranoid, he did leave modern civilization and ventured south, as far as I'm aware, at least before he stopped sending postage to us. His last known place was in Daggerford, just 100 miles away or so.
That's very helpful. Thank you. Now, tell me about this dragon, Aruthoror.
Orathor.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah. Orathor is a white dragon. But I remember Makath talking about Orathor is a vicious dragon. And
why was Makath seeking out this dragon?
Orathor is an adult dragon. He's been around for a while. Vicious as he is, he hoards the knowledge of other dragons, whether it be the histories, the magic. I don't quite remember everything. If I had the tomes available to me, those were some of what was taken by Makath when she left. But
and how long ago was that again?
It was about 3 years ago.
Sending me on a cold case.
Well, we have some. There's a man by the name of Unthar Froom. He's a member of the Order of the Gauntlet. We've asked him, as well as several others in the various factions, to help us retrieve information. I believe Unthar is kind of organizing some of the efforts more officially to go after Makath, but it's a little early in that planning stage. We need more intel to come back. There's some from the Harpers that are trying to glean some of that information covertly for us right now as to her final locations. The last known location was Luskin.
I think. Where can I find this Unthar?
Unthar, he'll actually be attending, I believe, open council here in Waterdeep um, in the morning. So it'd probably be worthwhile to wait around, see how open council goes. If there's any news that he brings, or you'll be able to catch him after the council. Um,
All right. Well, that is where I will go.
all right, Caitlin.
Yes.
So you have put the Lord's Ensemble on, and you realized how it kind of transforms you into an androgynous humanoid about 6 feet tall
A mannequin,
with
essentially.
with an unidentifiable, ununique voice. Um, and you kind of come out of that and you realize that you went over and talked to Lord Olbrinter uh, about this, and he seemed to kind of be in agreement that despite your moral principles being at odds with some of the more um, scoundrel-esque philosophies of the leadership in Waterdeep, he even countered that it could be a good thing to have your moral uprightness be a compass in ways of directing Waterdeep moving forward.
Yes, and I agree. Perhaps to balance some things out. Saloon should have a voice on the council.
And he says, "We should just let things lie. Give you some time tonight to be able to think about this, about what's being offered to you. Um, I would hope that you don't think it too unusual or odd to take up your father's seat and be able to influence Waterdeep for the better at this particular juncture. But being young, it can be good to get some experience under your belt as well. And I'll let you decide on that. For the time being, why don't you come back with me? We'll have dinner with my wife. And in the morning, I can show you the open council and see how how you like things in the open council, at least. You know, the the mass council is a little bit different. You know, you'll get the call when the time comes, and not all of us sit during every session of the mass council, so it's not like you have to be there. But when the time comes, I'm sure you'll be able to provide good insight when you're ready, when you feel like it. So,
I will certainly endeavor to do so.
would you join the Old Brinters for dinner, or would you do something else?
No, certainly I would love to be entertained by you tonight. In fact, I believe while I look for a place in the city, I may need to borrow a room at your estate if such were available.
Yes, actually, we would love to have you there. Um, we'll make we'll make plans to keep a room in town for you at our place until you decide otherwise in your best interest.
It would certainly be appreciated, and my mother will make sure to thank you for your hospitality.
And making your way back over to the Old Brinter estate, you see that Old Brinter's wife, Remy, um, she is in the study writing off some notes that, as they are closed and sealed, they vanish into thin air. And she turns towards you in her chair and says, "Dinner's been ready for half an hour. Are you
My
are you
apologies,
ready
my
to
lady.
eat? Do you need to freshen up?"
Certainly, I would hate to be dirty to your table.
She says, "We are all adventurous in our own ways. I have an adventurous spirit. My husband is just a politician, but um, he finds his ways of entertaining." Uh, she stands up and says, "Let me show you to your room." Um, as you head up the stairs, there's two flights that kind of crisscross back on themselves, and you find yourself at the top in the front bedroom. Modest, but it has its own kind of drawing room off to the side if you were to entertain, um, and like cleaning chambers, like a bathroom of sorts, um, kind of a wet closet. And she's able to show you a couple things and says, "Do you plan on staying here in Waterdeep?"
Yes, I should be here sometime, I imagine.
I knew your father, not as well as my husband did, but he too, like like me, we liked the countryside. We liked being out amongst the people. Would you say you're much like your father, or are you a city girl?
Oh, very much so like my father. I love to go out horse riding. I think he really got that into my head.
Do you know much about the realm?
The realm of Waterdeep.
No, I guess in that case, the world beyond the realm, as you see it, the things uncharted, the things of this world that are yet to explore, yet to be discovered.
You know, I have to admit, I've been here for almost 100 years and even fought with my father on three separate campaigns in incursions and battles, and yet I have never once left Waterdeep or even stepped onto a boat in its port or docks.
Hmm.
I guess I'm not very well traveled at all.
Well, to each their own. I don't mean to judge, if that is the life you choose.
My
Is it?
father had a lot of work here in the city, so we went back and forth a lot when we weren't on campaign.
Hmm. There are some of his interests that I plan to see followed up on. Do you mind if, when I do follow up on some of those interests that he had, that I check in with you in his stead?
No, I'd very much appreciate that. I admit I'm not entirely certain what all of my father's affairs were here in Waterdeep. I have a few notes on his desk to go through, but it'll take me some time.
True, it can take a while to kind of step into that mantle and step into that role. And dutifully, I do not want to overburden you.
And while we're talking,
Let
I'm getting freshened up, doing, washing my hands and
Yeah,
everything, getting my face and hair settled so we can go. Sup?
yeah. She kind of turns to in silhouette to give you that privacy that she's not directly looking at you, choosing her words carefully. As she says, "No need to burden you at this time, but I will follow up with you, and we will see where things go from there."
I do so appreciate it, my lady. Your husband has extended his hospitality for me while I'm here in Waterdeep, at least until I can acquire my own lodgings. So I think we'll have quite a bit of opportunity to talk, and I do so hope we do get that chance.
She says, then I leave you here, and I will meet you downstairs when you are ready." I do think it a good thing if you were to stay with us, but that is, again, your prerogative. You will always be welcome here.
Thank you. And when
And
I do go back downstairs, I'm gonna I'll have the amulet on, the one like the elk amulet from my father, and
Mhm.
then I'll have my sword still strapped on my waist, but no armor, of course, or anything like that. So
Sure. They do not think anything of it. Noblemen would carry their weapon with them as well. Um, and dinner is well received. You have a good time chatting with them, and they bid you an early evening as they retire to their own activities down in the lower levels.
banging it out. Hmm.
Glim, you have retrieved both a multicolored crystal shard that was the size of a medium pumpkin, a tall one, 25 pounds or so, and you stuffed it into a bag of holding that was given to you by Qualish
As an afterthought.
as an afterthought, as he kind of is putting up a illusion in front of this this unique airship, uh, and you went back in, grabbed some 7, if I remember correctly, clear crystal shards, uh, and you're making your way out. Is that correct?
That is what I remember too. Yeah.
Okay. So Qualish is there at the entrance at the bottom of the ramp. He still is kind of waving his arms very mildly, kind of keeping the illusion up. You see by this point it's a very good illusion. Seems very realistic. And he says to you, kind of calling back, "Did you get what you were looking for?"
I think so. They're the clear crystals. There was a number of them.
I mean, you don't know what you're looking for?
You were no. Is that what powers your ship, man? I haven't seen your. I saw your ship for seconds before we came here.
Are you saying what I'm looking for and what you're looking for are the same thing?
Yes, that is what I'm mentioning here. Yes,
Because I need 2 of those crystal shards.
I
to power
found
the ship.
2. Perfect. It works out well.
You found 2?
2.
So you're going to give me all of them and you're not going to have any for yourself?
Sure. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
As you're talking, and he's looking kind of back at you, half cocked there, you see enter into the room 2 of them, large snake-like creatures. They have snake heads, humanoid hands, and torso, with a snake lower half as they're slithering about 40 or 50 feet out from you, kind of making their way along the edge of this room, talking and pulling behind them a giant statue of what appears to be one of those large gorilla creatures that you passed in the hallway that had the red fur and the red eyes. It stood about 9 feet tall, and they're pulling one of them, and you can see the expression and the stance this statue takes is very lifelike looking, and they kind of drag it across this natural cavern in here. They are exerting themselves. You can see that they are struggling through this effort. And Qualish, again,
Glim Glim wants to get as close to the illusion as possible, so he like kind of slides down the greasy gangway down right behind Qualish. Is like, we need to get out of here now.
You mean walk past those snake creatures and the statue and get out of here?
You're a wizard, right? Can you do magic? I don't know.
Well, I am a wizard. This is a tomb. Let's see if the magic is up, warding this place against any sort of teleportation. He says, "Okay, here we go," and he taps the long metallic chime that he pulls out from his neck, around his neck, and taps it on his forehead. And as you see it begin to vibrate, and the sound kind of echoing through your body more so than your ears, after about 5 to 10 seconds, he says, "I think they have begun to work on this ward. We must work our way out of here a little bit further before we can try again."
Okay, well, let's do that. Is there anything you can do to help us be, I don't know, less conspicuous?
And he says, "Sure." And you see he pulls out of his bag some fur, and he blows it in your face. And you shrink even further from his sight, turning into a mouse.
Perfect.
And you see as
squeak
you
'em, squeak 'em, squeaker, squeak 'em.
and he grabs another little thing of grayish fur, and he throws it in his own face, and he coughs, and then slinks down to about the same size as you.
Now, I am a literal mouse, or I am the size of a mouse?
He is a mouse. From all appearances, if you kind of look around at yourself, you are a mouse as well.
Okay. I guess I'm going to try to speak to him. Does common come out, or more just squeaky noises?
Squeaky noises come out, but miraculously you are able to understand each other. It's very odd, but yes. And he says, "Don't go by the snakes!" And he starts running the other way.
Okay, I'm going to follow him, I guess. Are we heading out the direction we came, or is he heading deeper into the tomb?
The natural cavern, it would appear the ship was at the back of it. And so you would need, from all intents and purposes, you haven't been able to identify if there's other exits in this natural cavern. But if you were to make your way towards the exit or the entrance that you came in through, there is kind of the other side. If you were to abscond around them, going the opposite way than these snake creatures.
Okay. Well, I'm going to follow kind of close behind him and kind of move from small pebble to pebble, using as much cover as I can, and see what happens, I suppose.
Okay. You're able to make your way back to the main hall. And at this point, it was a unadorned hallway. You could see that there was several goblins kind of stacked on top of each other, nailing in anchors to the walls, and kind of these trap doors on the sides, and a false ceiling. And as you keep going through, they do not pay you much mind, being so small, and seeing as they're that busy. Now, you, after about 15 minutes, recognize the red stone kind of tile flooring of the main hall that you had entered in to this dungeon from. And Qualish follows you as you direct him towards the exit. He kind of, with his nuzzle or little muzzle, he just kind of like indicates maybe we could to go out. Do you heed that advice?
To like he is indicating with his with his muzzle, as you said, that we
Sorry.
are supposed to go. No, it's fine. That we're supposed to go out of this tomb to the outdoors, or that we should return to our normal size in the middle of this hallway and try to chime the Chang again.
He says, "Well, I know we can speak mouse to each other. I just thought we should be silent."
Oh, okay. So should we go out now? Outside? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. Maybe the magic will work from here.
I
I have no idea.
Okay. I mean, I don't know, man. Let's go outside. Let's go outside and let's get into the jungle a little ways away. Find some cover so we don't get spotted. Okay?
Yeah.
Use your
Okay.
mouse legs.
Mm-hmm. So he skirts around the edge of the entrance and makes his way out into kind of the rounded mounds and dunes that are being formed in this area. You see several large kind of bug, insectoid-like creatures with the carapace, a hard red kind of carapace, that are making their way in your general direction. And one of them sees you and goes to make a stomping action in your general direction.
Okay. Am I using a mouse stat block or a gnomish stat block for my dexterity saving throw to get out of the way of that stomp?
You are making a mouse dexterity saving throw.
Okay, well I rolled a raw 18, so whatever a mouse dexterity is, you just you let me know, man. I'm good.
You see at
I probably have it somewhere.
his height and kind of clunky body mechanics, he does misplace his foot, and you kind of just pop out between like one of his toes and make your way past him, and he gets bumped from the other one behind him, and they push the guy in front of him forward, speaking in some high chittering kind of dialect as they continue moving towards the dungeon. It is at this time you find yourself kind of against some unloaded, so unmoving caravan and boxes and crates and stuff like that, and you see instantly that in this shadowed area, unseen area, that kind of transforms back into his humanoid form, and he takes out his little wand and he presses it on you, and you two instantly kind of pop back out into your gnomish form.
Oh, let's not do that again. Okay.
Not used to polymorphing, are you?
No, I'm not. I work with tools more than fur. But let's go quickly. Can you get us out of here?
Well, we are out of the dungeon. Let's try again. And he taps the chime, and as it reverberates, you feel your inwards kind of get sucked in slightly, and pop with a within about a couple seconds, you have reappeared inside of Qualish's airship. You can smell immediately the salty breeze, even hearing kind of the waves crashing in the distance. And he says, "So, what now?"
Well, I suppose you were supposed to teach me a little bit about magic, and maybe I could help you a little bit with some of the clockwork items you have here on your ship, if that seems like a fair trade.
Good. So, have you learned anything?
I've learned a lot. Most of it not greatly helpful in my future career, but probably greatly helpful as I spend time on this ship with you.
Well, good. The lesson is over then.
All right then. I suppose you'll be wanting your 2 crystals then.
Yes. And he takes the crystals and he kind of heads over to the back area of this ship, which has again been kind of made into more of his laboratory, makeshift laboratory. And he kind of pushes some things aside, where again you kind of see all of a sudden this kind of makeshift device where there are a couple slots, it would appear, for power crystals, and he slips the 2 into place, and this airship almost immediately begins to kind of hum welcomingly to life. And he says, "So, we did that. I have an airship. And you have learned something."
I guess everyone wins.
"Yes. So where to for you? Where are you off to next?"
I suppose on the ground over there sounds like a good plan. I hope to find to research a little bit, to gather some materials to explore the world and spread my name about. I do have a quick question. And he pulls out a leather-bound, like, kind of journal from his bag, and opens it up, and it's diagrams and schematics. And he turns to this page, and he hesitates a little bit before he shows it to Qual. He says, "I've spoken to quite a few wizards about this, and every single one of them told me that I would die if I tried it. But you seem to have a devil's make hair attitude about things. Is this possible?" And he turns the diagram to Qualish and has Qualish look at it. Not is it safe, not is it wise. Is it possible?
And how do you power it?
That is the question. I think that I could maybe use one of the crystals from the ship.
But I'm using them.
Yes, I know. I'll find others.
That would be an interesting invention.
It's more than an invention.
Well, what is it?
I told you that I am the greatest artificer in the world because, well, I'm the only one. There's never been an artificer before. It's a word that I made up, if I'm being honest. But I intend to make machines that can think, that can feel, that have a soul of their own. This is what I'm shooting for, and I will change the world. But is it possible?
Have you consulted the Arcane Brotherhood?
No.
Yeah.
I assume that you would be the right person to consult.
Well,
You are arcane, are you not?
I am.
You are a bro, yes?
I am brothered.
Okay.
To be honest, there are less strange things in the other realms. So this is unique. This one, I would have to say, you are on the right track. If nothing else, don't get your hopes up. And even if you explode a couple people, hopefully you will be alive at the end, right?
Hopefully. Well, this has been a enlightening adventure, and if I don't see you again, which I greatly imagine that I will not, best wishes in the future, and I will. I'm going to give this a try, and we'll see what happens.
It was dim. Is that right? Dim?
Yes, yeah. That's close enough, my friend. Remember that name.
I will. And he bids adieu as he takes off in his airship. It kind of slowly making its way up and out. He says, "Are you sure you don't want to ride anywhere?"
I think I'd rather walk. I think I've had enough of your type of plans, but thank you so much. And if you do see a Sararek again, tell him abracadabra for me.
No, I don't plan on it. And he disappears into his airship as it slowly makes its way towards the Sword Mountains to the east. From here, it would be several more peaks, about 170 miles to Waterdeep, if you were to consult anyone further at the Arcane Brotherhood. At this point, would you do that?
I think that he would that would probably be his goal, but having just walked through this crypt of all kinds of horrible creatures and made it out on the other side, he's feeling a little full of himself, I think, and he decides that he might go back up and see if he can take care of those will-o-wisps.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hop back over to...
Can we go ahead and take a 2-minute break here?
Yeah, let's do that.
Ready?
Yeah. So the next morning, Adric and Caitlin, you both make your way via different routes and locations from the city of Waterdeep to the council. This is a large kind of a oratorium of seating and open area in the middle, which spans a couple tiers high, allowing for passive observers and for also any people that want to participate in the open council to talk and participate based on need in the realm. This large building sits at the footstool of the Castle of Waterdeep, in just beyond the courtyard area. And as you make your way in, it seems that today is a rather busy day. There seems to have been an announcement. There's some chatter and people talking about that there was a special announcement to be had this morning. And before you can really even take your seats, conversation has begun. And you hear a magically altered voice to be louder and more present in the hall, kind of echo out softly into the surrounding area, into your ears here, as it says, Council at Waterdeep has begun. This is a special meeting. We have opened this up to any who find of interest, would like to sign up with us at the end of this. Please stick around for the entire announcement. My name is Laurel Silverhand, and I've been asked to represent the gnomes of Phalorm and the dwarfs of Phalorm in this special council as we discuss some current events going on in what has come to be known as the Year of the Shattered Scepter, 614 DR. Orc hordes attacked the realm of Phalorm. A new alliance of dwarfs, gnomes, and humans who settled in the frontier towns of Phandalin, Axholm for the dwarfs, with their joint venture in the Mines of Phandelver, and the more trade-minded humans settling along the high road at Uth Tower, as well as along the burgeoning trade route, the Tribor Trail, at Coneybury. It is important for us today to discuss this, as the Orc hordes, they defeated the Phalorm armies, scattering the inhabitants and retreating back into the Sword Mountains. The Orcs besieged a rallied remnant of Phalorm's defenders at Inyarv's Tower, said to be the abode of the Mage Royal of Uthtower. I'm sure all of you know, in the wake of that battle, a great fog settled over the land of Uthtower as the lowland became boggy with the rising tide attracting all sorts of ill foe. Any crossing it now know it today as the Mere of Dead Men. It is requisite that you understand this history and the threat upon the realm of Phalorm so as to be forewarned, and that you might see it with comprehending eyes, since we are here today to discuss the current goings-on in the area. The dwarfs of the Grey Mountains, along the southern borders of the Netheril, and the gnomes of the Neverwinter Treaty have come together to implore this council at Waterdeep to secure the land and, if possible, rid the realm of Phalorm from any threats, that their holdings might be re-established. We seek those who might aid in this effort to re-establish the trade route and inform us of the ills that stand in the way of these claimants on their holdings in the now fallen realm of Phalorm. Thus concludes the official request by the gnomes of the Neverwinter Treaty and the dwarfs of the Grey Mountains. We seek all who are willing to stand up to any unknown threats and identify what might hold these gnomes and dwarfs from reclaiming their lands in the realm of Phalorm. You see, as she finishes speaking, she points over to several tables on the side where there's a symbol over an insignia over it with what would appear to be the Lord's Alliance insignia. You have the Order of the Gauntlet insignia, and people taking names, offering further information. But you see a mass amount of murmuring going around as people are discussing. You can hear the words Phalorm coming up and the ills that besought the realm in the year of the Shattered Scepter, which is now past many years ago now. And some people scoffing, calling out to the open council, saying, "This is an ill attempt. This is ill-advised. These cities, these lands lie in ruin, and these people the dwarfs and the gnomes, they should do it themselves."
Is that the end of the meeting?
There is no more official announcement at that time. You're able to see that the open council still sits in the first tier of seats around the welcoming area on the side, but they kind of talk amongst themselves. They're writing, and they have messengers that are sending off notes and stuff like that, but they're not engaging necessarily unless called upon.
I'll approach the Lord's Alliance desk then.
Okay. And at the table, you see a tall, bearded man with long hair. He introduces himself.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Okay. he introduces himself as Marshal Older Ravengard. You see
Marshal
an insignia on Ravengard. You see on his shoulder he has an insignia for the Flaming Fist, and you've heard the name Ravengard out of Baldur's Gate.
Marshal Ravengard out of Baldur's Gate?
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm sorry, you said he had an insignia?
Yeah, he had an insignia for the Flaming Fist. It's on one of his lapels, kind of on the side.
That's a monk order, correct?
The Flaming Fist.
Yeah. Do I know anything about the Flaming Fists?
Go ahead and roll a history for me.
Let's see here. 11 plus... and I'm proficient, so that's plus 2. Yep. 13.
Okay, you would know them as a mercenaries guild, a band or a company of people that collectively are looking out for the better interests of their realm or their area, specifically in this case, Baldur's Gate. And you recognize they fight for riches, glory, victory, anything primarily that is in the public eye, something that can gain them rapport with their future dealings.
Hello there, sir. I'm Caitlin Sunward of the Ardeep. Noble of Waterdeep.
Says, yeah, are you going to be signing up with us?
Am I going to be? What's in it for me?
He's kind of looking around. He's like, this is rather a waste of my time. You already have your insignia. It was seen that you're a council member here. Do you really not know what the Lord's Alliance can offer you? Do you need me to go over the details here today?
I'm afraid I do. I was not present for the meeting of the wealth that would be distributed for taking on such a mission.
He hands you a small little pamphlet. On it, it identifies some of the benefits of the Lord's Alliance, namely, there are some spellcasting benefits. There's there is a minor health plan, yes, and
dental, optical,
yeah. So you have some minor
education.
spellcasting, healing, mending in the various towns. It is contract based, so as you complete contracts, as you do things for the Lord's Alliance, you're able to benefit from increased standing politically with them and in the realm. Just it really depends on kind of the area that you're dealing in. So,
Okay. Is there something I need to sign? A charter of some sort?
he says, yeah, go ahead and sign the charter here. That would earn you your insignia. I can give you a little lapel clip for you. He kind of shows you one, and it's like a clip in or a push in for like a signet ring. So you can pick up a signet ring for pretty cheap on the street that you can press this little pin into. The signet ring appears to be red with a golden crown just centered right in the middle.
Okay.
He says you would get one of these. Displaying this would allow you to function in the office or in the name of the Lord's Alliance, which we do not take lightly to. If you offend, there are consequences.
Indeed.
You pen your name on the paper.
Does it say when and who is going? Are there any other names scrawled on there, or is it?
There are names, but against them you have different years. So it looks like this is a ledger that stays here in this area, but uh, so that you'd be able to call back. I'm Lord's Alliance out of Waterdeep in this case, and they'd be able to fact check that against the records kept in Waterdeep.
Okay.
This is not his primary dwellings, so he doesn't have full inventory or notice on like what's going on here.
I'll go ahead and sign.
Okay. As you turn away, you see that amongst the people, a lot of them seem like commoners or politicians, people that aren't really designed for adventure in the capacity that you are hoping or expecting. But you do see a man, young in appearance, who carries with him a blue scepter. Just kind of peeks out from him. It's his robe, magnificent blue robe with a red lining on it. And the scepter you only see briefly, but this seems either of great nobility or of a courageous earning from great deeds that were done.
It doesn't stand out at all that he has a halo, like a glowing wreath of fire
I
above his
don't
head
really
at
have a
all.
halo.
I didn't think he had a halo either. I think that's just the art, right? Right, Quincy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh,
yep,
you don't.
yep.
I thought ASMR actually got halos if you chose the good one.
I think you can. I don't know. Like in my mind, I'm kind of envisioning that maybe if you like catch them in the sunlight, it would be like
Oh, do you
I hate
sparkle
to
in the
say like the
sunlight?
vampires in
Son
Twilight,
of
but
a.
like
Not
but yeah,
exactly like that.
like he's just kind of like extra radiant,
Okay.
All
not
right.
not like sickly and silvery.
Well, I'll people watch a little bit, and I'll see who else is signing up. Amongst the Lords of Alliance, it's mostly nobles, though, or like people that are of some sort of nobility.
Yeah, if they're not of nobility, they are seeking
To better
the
themselves.
fame, yeah, the fame of that position and the honor of doing good for the realm to elevate themselves above their own status.
Yeah, I'll just kind of talent scout while I'm standing there.
Okay. And Adric, was there anywhere or anybody that you would be? Um,
Yeah, I'm assuming this Unthar character is at this meeting
yes,
talking
he
to
would.
people.
He was sitting at the kind of the round table area where the rest of the council was seated, and he came down after the announcement was made, and you kind of, as you're making your way towards him, because he was announced, he was pointed out during this whole ordeal. He makes an open announcement for anyone of the Order of the Gauntlet who's seeking information or seeking to help those who are less fortunate in this area to come join him in the Order of the Gauntlet over on the other side. So it's not far. The tables and the areas where the Lord's Alliance was and where the Zentarum is actually. They have a physical presence here, despite some of the ill repute that they have. And even the Harpers. There is a lean-looking person, man in bluish robes that stands there, albeit no one else really is approaching the Harper's desk. And Unthar kind of leads anyone that's willing to, and he's kind of got a very jovial presence to him, but he does lead people over to his area, his table.
Okay, I would like to approach Unthar. and introduce myself and say, I hear you're organizing an expedition to go after Makath. The documents that they took, tomes, are of great interest to me, and I would like to be on that expedition.
I have a couple friends at the Arcane Brotherhood. Yes, I have been commissioned, actually, to help in the recovery of Makath and the tomes that she absconded with. It must have most certainly been altruistic, helping the realm. She couldn't possibly have joined the dragons. And he kind of
Do you know
stares
why
off
she
into space.
Do you know why she went off north after these dragons in the first place?
Ah, the untold lore of the dragons. Yes, she has always had a mind, as far as Vince has told me over the years, a mind towards those dragons and what they hold secret. Sometimes the things that we hold in our own tomes, they have further meaning when you bring them to a dragon. But yes, I do actually seek those willing to join us in our journey to the north. At this time, I petition with the other lords in Waterdeep to get a skiff that will take us out. I have even chosen the vessel. Have you heard of it? The Frost Skimmer.
I have not.
Light enough, long enough, and lean enough to make its way across the floating ice of the sea of moving ice, if so need be. I do not believe her to have stopped in Luskin. There is news coming that she went further north.
How far north?
Much further, in fact. I mean, it is a mere another 100 or 200 miles to the Sea of Moving Ice. I mean, you don't expect Arthur, and he kind of quiets his voice a little bit, Arthur to make his home near Luskin, do you? So close to humankind? No, I believe he is further north of here.
So can I assume that I'm on this expedition then?
He claps your shoulder. Absolutely, good sir. Sign here.
I feel like that does like take me aback a little bit. Like,
Kind of his very hands-on approach.
Yeah.
Okay.
just wasn't expecting that.
He says, and what may I call you, sir?
Adric, if you wouldn't mind.
Adric. And he says, yes, do sign here. I will get you an insignia to represent us in wherever you might be when you're not with us personally here on this journey. It may be another month or so, I would assume. Even though I have the Frost Skimmer reserved, she has a journey to make before we set off. And he says, having this insignia, I should be able to contact you if you are not in the direct vicinity. But let's assume that you are on board. I will not leave without you unless I cannot otherwise contact you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And he says, and what of this Phalorm business? Do you find in the meantime that you might make your way north?
I see that I have some time. This business has very little to do with me. Is my presence required?
Oh, what are you going to do for a month while you wait? Nothing better than to maybe kill a couple orcs? Rid the realm, glory and honor?
I suppose it would do good to get myself out of Waterdeep for a month.
Then you should join up. Find somebody to go with you. do not go alone. That is a personal recommendation. But find someone that you trust, go with them, and give them hell.
Okay.
All right. Um, if you were to, both of you, Adric and Caitlin, kind of find a way towards each other, how would you, where do you think you would meet each other? In which way?
I mean, I am kind of people watching, trying to see who is matching people up. And Quincy, Adric, you just went and signed with the Gauntlet. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you didn't sign up with the same group as myself, but were I? All of these groups are headed north to the same location. That's correct.
Yeah, so you see, there's probably 5 or 7 that you can identify that are signing up at this current time.
People. Okay.
Yeah, there are people that are signing up to the factions, not necessarily to go on this mission towards Phalorm, even though the public announcement has been made. You would assume that there's going to be heralds that take this news into Waterdeep and into the rest of the realm for anyone else that could join the cause where they might be currently.
Okay.
And so those people that have signed up, there's no saying whether or not they are also making their way north towards the Phalorm realm.
Well, I'm gonna detect evil. I mean, it'll also tell me if they're Fey, Outsiders, Celestial.
Hmm. Um, okay.
Aberrations.
What do you say?
All right.
Saying I may not want to go with you.
Detect evil and good. Okay, so first level spell. For the duration, you know if there is an aberration, celestial, elemental, fey, fiend, or undead within 30 feet of you. So you begin to make your way through
Kind of
the.
sizing up this squad of 7, 8 people, seeing who I like, who I definitely do not like.
Okay. And Adric, as an Asimar, is a celestial type.
Yes.
Is that correct? Adric?
I believe so.
Okay. Being of angelic form or origins, you see that, Caitlin, you see as you kind of walk around and you notice him that there is what you thought was just the light reflecting is more like the bluish hints kind of rippling across him and kind of around his figure, and you kind of begin to see him more as a celestial creature, some sort of otherworldly being, not of any evil intention or origin as far as you can tell.
That's all good
Now,
stuff.
now you see also for a very split second, a red outline fleeting into a hallway which is not lit as it moves out of your range.
But it wasn't somebody from this group. It wasn't somebody I noticed.
The person or creature, whatever it was leaving.
Okay. No point in running them down.
Okay.
I'll approach the. How tall are you, Adric?
6 feet.
6 feet. Yeah. He seems sturdy, well built, and he's celestial. So, I'll just kind of approach and. Hello there, sir.
Good day.
I couldn't help but notice you signed up to travel north with the gauntlet. Yes?
Indeed. Not really my the mission I was looking for, but it looks like I have some time to kill and a an organization to work with. So maybe it's good that I do this.
I was thinking very much the same thing. Only, I kind of look around. It was sort of just me at the moment. Do you happen to have anybody else with you?
I don't, but I look really nervous when I say that. I feel like, and I like touch the cloak a little bit.
It kind of retracts a little bit, kind of like tightens to your body. It's like very tense and listening to the conversation.
Would you like to travel together?
Certainly. What was your name?
Oh, pardon me. Yes, I'm Caitlin Sunward.
Adric Gadriel. Gadriel. Pardon me.
Adric. Pleasure to meet you. Where do you come from?
Indeed. Here in Waterdeep.
Oh. I come from not far south of here. I'm surprised I've not seen you or met you before. Are you a noble or a lord here of Waterdeep?
Oh, nothing quite so illustrious. Just a commoner here trying to make their way.
You don't appear to be so common, but all right, as you say. Shall we see if there's anybody else that would like to travel with us? That red-headed fellow over there, perhaps.
Sure.
To which red-headed fellow are you referring?
Somebody else from that group.
Oh, some just like rando?
Just some rando.
Some rando ginger, yeah.
There's a ginger in every group, and they always look like they're ready to
Some
party,
token ginger. Got it.
He can flat out run at least 15 miles, and he carries a spear. There you go. There's
Right.
the
But
generic
he can't stand the
I
sun.
gotta ask, as they approach the ginger, is there a red outline there? Denoting the lack of a soul?
He sensed him when he sensed evil and good. It's like celestials, fae, fiends, devils, gingers.
Gingers was first, though. We just didn't want to call him out. So, Adric, in your ear, you kind of hear this. You just made a really good friend. She's pretty cool, huh? I like her a lot. She's pretty cool.
Shh.
She's not as cool as you, though. You're my best friend.
Shh. Philip, be quiet. Shh.
Okay.
The
And
people are
What was that?
nothing.
as you take your token ginger with you, in the coming day, you make your way north. It is after a week or so that you make your way to the edge of these Sword Mountains. And it is at this time that you see an airship floating overhead towards those Sword Mountains, making its way silently across the sky as though coming from the sea. And ahead of you, you spot, walking northward, is a small gnomish boy with a couple backpacks and a satchel over his shoulder.
And we're also going north, correct?
Yes, you are.
Kind of traveling in the same direction.
Yeah.
Quincy, does Adric have a horse? A mount of any type?
He does not.
How about the redhead?
No, he is much more common than you give him credit for. He is a farmer that was signing up to life beyond this.
Well, we'll find out how long that life lasts, I guess.
Right.
His name is Stump, right? Just Stump?
Named after the stump he took down as an 8-year-old boy. They just renamed him, after the one triumphant feat he did in his entire life. Got it. Yeah, that's exactly it.
It feels right.
All right, and we will end there tonight.
All right.